I would like to thank all of my new subscribers for subscribing. I especially appreciate those of you who've left comments. Who is Samuel Little? Well, Samuel Little's notoriety as the United States' most prolific serial killer, with confessions to over 90 murders, is a stark reminder of the darker aspects of human nature and societal failings. His victims, often women living in precarious and overlooked circumstances, like prostitution or substance addiction, were specifically targeted due to their perceived invisibility in society. This choice of victims, combined with his method of murder, primarily subtle and lethal techniques like beating and strangulation, resulted in many deaths being misattributed to drug overdoses or natural causes. Born in Georgia in 1940, Little's life outside of his heinous crimes was characterized by a nomadic existence and frequent run-ins with the law for minor offenses. His transient lifestyle, which took him across various states, and his background in competitive boxing, which tragically aided in his overpowering of victims, painted him as a man adept at blending into different communities. This ability to fly under the radar facilitated his evasion of suspicion for his more serious crimes for an extended period. Starting in the 1970s and continuing into the 1980s, Little's criminal path was marked by a disturbing consistency and precision. He roamed the United States, preying on women whom society tended to ignore, a strategic choice that played a significant role in how long he remained undetected. The inconspicuous nature of his killings, reflecting societal and systemic biases against vulnerable individuals, further complicated their detection, especially in an era lacking advanced forensic techniques like DNA profiling. The unveiling of Little's hidden atrocities began with an unrelated arrest in 2012, leading to investigations that used DNA evidence to connect him to numerous unsolved homicides. His detailed confessions and victim sketches have been instrumental in resolving many cold cases, emphasizing the importance of thorough investigations for all homicides. While it is challenging to provide an exact number of murders per year, Little confessed to killing 93 people over several decades. The lack of detection during this period is notable. Many of his crimes went unnoticed or were not linked to him, allowing him to continue his murderous spree. The absence of advanced forensic technology at the time further contributed to this lack of detection. Little's evasion of justice during these early years can be attributed to several factors. The low-profile nature of his victims meant that their disappearances or deaths were often not given the attention they deserved. Additionally, the limited forensic technology available at the time made it difficult to link the killings to Little or even to identify them as murders. Little's ability to blend into different communities and his lack of a fixed abode also played a significant role in his evasion of capture. His crimes were not just a failure of justice, but also reflected broader societal issues, where certain lives were not given the same level of concern or attention due to their social status. In sum, the early years of Samuel Little's criminal activities laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most disturbing cases in the annals of American crime, characterized by a chilling combination of strategic targeting of victims, an effective method of killing, and a societal and systemic failure to recognize and address the pattern of violence he was perpetrating. Samuel Little's capture and subsequent downfall began with his arrest in 2012, a pivotal moment that would unravel his hidden legacy of violence. Little was found and apprehended at a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky. This arrest, initially unrelated to his serial killings, was facilitated by detectives who traced him through his Social Security payments. Following this arrest, Little was extradited to California to face a narcotics charge. The critical breakthrough came when DNA testing linked Little to the unsolved murders of Linda Alford, Guadalupe Duarte, Apodaca, and Audrey Nelson Everett. These murders, which had occurred in Los Angeles between 1987 and 1989, had remained cold cases for decades. The DNA evidence, a cornerstone of modern forensic science, not only connected Little to these specific crimes, but also opened the door to a wider investigation into his criminal history. This series of events, starting from a seemingly unrelated arrest and culminating in the use of advanced DNA analysis, illustrates the complex interplay between chance, investigative persistence, and technological advancement in solving criminal cases. Little's extradition and the subsequent linking of his DNA to multiple murders were pivotal in unveiling his true identity as one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. Samuel Little's confessions to his numerous murders came after his arrest and conviction for other crimes, revealing a chilling history of violence that spanned decades. He was arrested on September 5, 2012, at a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky, and extradited to California to face a narcotics charge. It was during this time that DNA testing connected him to 3 unsolved homicides from 1987 and 1989 in Los Angeles. In 2014, after being linked to these murders, Little was tried and found guilty, receiving 3 consecutive life sentences. However, it wasn't until 2018 that Little began to reveal the full extent of his crimes. Texas Ranger James Holland began interviewing Little, during which Little detailed his many crimes. Little shared names of his victims and even sketched what they looked like, giving investigators 650 hours worth of interviews. In these interviews, he confessed to a staggering number of 93 murders, though he mentioned he stopped counting at 84. Little's confessions, which started to come after he was already serving life sentences, were not characterized by remorse, but rather by a detailed recounting of his actions. He confessed to additional murders, including the 1994 murder of Denise Christie brothers in Odessa, Texas, and pleaded guilty in December 2018, receiving another life sentence. The nature of Little's confessions was more indicative of a recounting of his past rather than an expression of remorse. His detailed memory and the sheer number of confessions were both shocking and instrumental in solving numerous cold cases. The FBI and law enforcement agencies across the country have been working to match Little's confessions to known murders or suspicious deaths, bringing closure to many unsolved cases. Little passed away in December 2020 at the age of 80 while serving his life sentences, and his cause of death was determined to be natural causes related to his health conditions, including diabetes and heart trouble. His confessions have been instrumental in solving many cold cases, but many of his claims are still being investigated by authorities. The fact that they are still being investigated makes me wonder, did he really kill so many people? For some reason, I doubt that he's faked his confessions. Still, it's very difficult to believe. The chilling case of Samuel Little, who managed to evade capture while committing heinous crime after heinous crime over several decades, raises a profound and unsettling question. Are there more unknown serial killers out there? This possibility underscores several critical issues in our approach to criminal justice and societal awareness. Firstly, societal blind spots often play a significant role. Serial killers, like Little, frequently target marginalized individuals whose disappearances might not be immediately noticed or prioritized. This lack of attention can lead to delayed investigations, making it difficult for law enforcement to quickly connect the dots between related crimes. Moreover, the limitations of forensic science, particularly in past decades, have played a role in the ability to catch these criminals. Although forensic science has advanced significantly, there is still a reliance on technology and methodologies that may not always capture the nuances of every crime scene. Additionally, the vastness and diversity of the United States, both geographically and demographically, can make it challenging for law enforcement agencies to track and link crimes that occur across state lines. Another factor is the evolving nature of crime and criminal behavior. Serial killers often adapt their methods to avoid detection, exploiting gaps in law enforcement techniques and technologies. As methods of committing crimes evolve, it can take time for law enforcement to catch up. Finally, there's the aspect of societal tuning out of these atrocities. In an age of information overload and numerous competing news stories, it is possible for society to become desensitized to individual tragedies, particularly those involving victims from less visible or less privileged segments of the population. This desensitization can lead to a lack of public pressure or awareness, which in turn impacts the resources and attention devoted to solving such crimes. In conclusion, the existence of undetected serial killers like Samuel Little is a stark reminder of the need for vigilance, both in terms of law enforcement strategies and societal awareness. It calls for a collective effort to ensure no victim is overlooked and that justice is sought, regardless of the profile of the victim or the nature of the crime. Thank you for watching Deliberately Deadly, and please subscribe and like this video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments.
Man, I love this channel.